Okay, so are you ready to dive deep into some seriously fascinating astrology?
I am.
Because today we're tackling your questions about some heavy stuff like um, can astrology actually predict death? And which planets are shaking up your career?
Yeah.
And just what is Saturn really doing in your life? I gotta admit, when I saw these questions come in, I was super curious myself.
You and me both.
Yeah,
It's great you're curious. And I think while we're exploring these questions, it's important to remember that astrology is really a tool for self awareness, not a crystal ball,
right, yeah.
especially when it comes to heavy stuff like trying to predict someone's death.
Yeah, because let's be real. If astrology could actually give us a death date,
Mm,
wouldn't we all be walking around just knowing exactly when our time was up?
right. And imagine how that would make life.
Oh my goodness, so intense.
It would just be so intense, right? And there are just too many factors involved in something as complex as death. What astrology can do is show us the timing of potential transitions and endings. But it's not about predicting a specific event, but more about understanding the overall energy and possible shifts that might occur during certain periods.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah,
So it's less about pinpointing the exact moment and more about recognizing these broader patterns and cycles.
exactly.
Kind of like how we can predict the seasons changing,
Yes.
but we can't predict the exact temperature on a specific day.
Yeah, a perfect analogy. And, these periods of change can manifest in all areas of life, including our careers. And speaking of careers, you had some questions about which planets might be influencing your professional journey.
Yeah. I'm always so fascinated by how different planets can just show up in our careers.
Hmm.
Like, I've heard that Saturn, the planet of, well, hard work and discipline, plays a big role. But honestly, I feel like sometimes Saturn gets a bad rap. Is it really all doom and gleam, or is there something more to it?
I'd say Saturn definitely pushes us to step up and work for what we want, especially when it comes to our careers. For example, let's say Saturn is transiting your 10th house, which in astrology represents your career and public image. This could be a time when you're taking on more responsibility, putting in long hours, and really honing your skills.
Ah, yes, the 10th house. Now, for those who aren't super familiar with the astrological houses, could you explain what makes the 10th house so significant when we're talking about careers?
Sure. In astrology, the birth chart is divided into 12 houses, each representing a different area of life. And the 10th house, which is situated at the very top of the chart, symbolizes our ambitions, our achievements, and how we present ourselves to the world. So it's the realm of our public life and career aspirations.
So basically, when Saturn is transiting through the 10th house, it's basically saying, time to get serious about your goals. No more slacking off.
Precisely. And while it might feel challenging in the moment, remember that Saturn ultimately wants us to build something lasting. So those efforts that you're putting in, they're laying the groundwork for long-term success and stability in your chosen field.
Okay, so Saturn's all about putting in the work and reaping the rewards later on. Makes sense. But what about those times when you're feeling completely stuck in a dead end job? Like you wake up one day and just know you need a change, even if you don't know what that change looks like yet. What's happening astrologically during those moments?
That sounds like Uranus might be stirring things up.
Uranus.
Yes, Uranus is the planet of sudden change, innovation, and breaking free from convention. When Uranus makes major aspects to your career planets, or the midheaven, that's the very top point of the 10th house, you might feel this really strong urge to break free from the status quo and pursue something more aligned with your true self, even if it seems unconventional or unexpected.
Wow. Uranus definitely sounds like a wild card. So if you're suddenly feeling the need to quit your corporate job and become a freelance artist, you can probably blame Uranus for that.
It's definitely possible. Of course, you always want to look at the entire birth chart and all the planetary influences at play, but Uranus is often a key player when it comes to these sudden career shifts.
So I'm starting to see how different planetary energies can just show up in our careers. We've talked about Saturn and Uranus. What about the other planets? Do they have a say in things too?
Absolutely. Jupiter, the planet of expansion and opportunity, can bring about career growth, promotions, or just lucky breaks. When Jupiter transits your 10th house or aspects your midheaven, it's often a time of abundance and professional recognition. You might land a dream job, receive a raise, or finally get that big promotion you've been working towards.
Oh, Jupiter transits sound like a welcome change from Saturn's tough love. But I've heard that even Pluto, the planet of transformation, can influence our career paths. Isn't Pluto more associated with deep psychological changes, though?
That's true. Pluto signifies deep transformation, and that includes our careers. When Pluto transits your 10th house or makes significant aspects to your career planets, it can bring about a complete overhaul of your professional life. This could involve a major career change, a shift in power dynamics, or a profound realization about your true calling.
So depending on how it's playing out, a Pluto transit in the 10th house could either feel like a total breakdown or a breakthrough.
Exactly.
Wow.
And often it feels like both at the same time. Pluto's energy is intense and transformative, pushing us to confront our deepest fears and desires. In the context of career, this can mean letting go of old patterns and embracing a completely new path.
Okay, so much to consider when it comes to the planets in our careers. We've covered Saturn, Uranus, Jupiter, and even Pluto, and it's clear that each planet brings its own unique flavor to the table. But we've been focusing a lot on careers, and I know we had some questions about Saturn's influence on other areas of life too.
Yeah, Saturn's influence extends far beyond just our professional lives. And remember, Saturn is all about building those solid foundations, and that applies to every area, including relationships, finances, and even our emotional and spiritual growth.
So if Saturn's transiting through, let's say, my 7th house of relationships, that's not necessarily like a sign that my relationship is doomed.
No, not at all.
Okay, good.
In the 7th house, Saturn encourages us to take relationships seriously, to build lasting commitments, and to address any weaknesses or imbalances that may exist. So it might feel like a testing period where you're being asked to put in the work to strengthen the foundation of the relationship.
So Saturn in the 7th house isn't about breaking up, it's more about growing up.
Exactly. And that theme of growth through challenge, it applies to all these other areas as well. So, like in finances, Saturn encourages responsible planning, saving, and investing for the long term. In our emotional lives, it can help us develop resilience, self-discipline, and emotional maturity.
So it sounds like no matter where Saturn is transiting in our charts, it's ultimately pushing us towards, like a more mature and responsible version of ourselves.
Precisely. And while Saturn's transits can definitely bring challenges, they often coincide with major milestones and achievements. It's by working through those challenges that we gain the wisdom and experience needed to truly succeed in all areas of life.
So as we wrap things up, let's just recap some of the key takeaways here. We've learned that astrology can't predict the exact moment of death, but it can reveal potential periods of transition. When it comes to careers, planets like Saturn, Uranus, Jupiter, and Pluto can influence our paths in these super unique ways. And perhaps most importantly, Saturn, which is often seen as that tough love planet, actually plays a crucial role in our personal growth across all areas of life, helping us build a stronger, more resilient foundation for the future.
Well summarized.
Thanks. So here's a final thought for you to ponder as you continue your own, astrological journey. If Saturn's challenges are designed to help us grow, what difficult experiences in your life might be paving the way for future success? Food for thought. All right, well, that's it for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
It was a pleasure.
Until next time.
Bye.